may never have to operate a duplicating machine, but you may be required to make masters for duplicating machine use. Before writing a stencil, make a copy of the letter or work to be duplicated. Then compare it with the size of the stencil, so it can be spaced properly on the stencil. It is inadvisable to write beyond these vertical margins on the stencil. Before you write the stencil, be sure to clean your type and don't use liquid solvent. Shift the ribbon indicator to the stencil position. Before putting the stencil in your machine, be sure that the cushion sheet has been properly placed. Hold the stencil and sheets together at the bottom and insert in the machine with the backing sheet next to the platen. Be careful to avoid wrinkles. Place the paper bale rollers at the extreme right and left edges of the stencil. Type the stencil slowly and carefully, using a staccato touch. Strike with a little greater force those characters having a large printing surface, such as M, W, and so forth. Strike with less force those having a smaller printing surface, such as C, O, and the punctuation marks. Make corrections carefully. Correct each character separately, even if there are several successive errors. First, rub each character gently with the burnisher, using a circular motion. Next, apply a thin but complete coating of correction fluid over each error. Do this with a single vertical stroke of the brush. Use a normal or slightly lighter touch in retyping the character. When you take the stencil out of your machine, remove the cushion sheet and save it for your next stencil. Be sure to proofread the stencil for possible errors. They are easy to catch before the copy is duplicated, expensive if all or a number of copies have been made before the error is discovered. With the help of this illuminated drawing board, you can trace lines. Pictures, graphs, or almost anything desired can be made on your stencil. When making hectograph masters, use either a hectograph ribbon in your machine or hectograph carbon paper. If there are a large number of masters to be made at one time, it will be best to use a Ditto or hectograph ribbon. In making a master, type just as you would in writing a letter, using a firm, even stroke. Change ribbons frequently and avoid embossing. Ribbons must be sufficiently fresh so they leave a strong ink deposit on the master. Be sure that the paper bale rollers are outside your margins, or they may mark your copy. Your pressure and feed rolls may also mark your copy. If they do, call a serviceman. The special carbon paper will prove more convenient when typewritten masters are used infrequently. When using carbon, place a thin tissue sheet above the carbon. Type with an even stroke, slightly harder than for normal typing. This ensures an adequate deposit on the master. To correct errors made when using hectograph ribbon or carbon, coat the error with wax from a special wax pencil. A special quick-drying fluid for painting over the error can also be used. Apply this, and after drying, type in the correction. Special hectograph pencils are furnished in a number of colors and can be used in a number of ways in making a hectograph master. These colors are also available in ink. The Electromatic Hectowriter uses carbon paper ribbon. All impressions are made with uniform intensity on fresh carbon surfaces. The machine produces masters which make uniformly bright and clear copies. Stains from hectograph ribbon and carbon are difficult to remove from the hands and clothes unless you have a special cleanser which is made for this purpose. Master copies for the photographic offset process can also be made on your typewriter. For the direct offset process, the master is typed on this special paper or a thin metal sheet with a carbon ribbon machine. In making an offset master, it is important that the typing be of even blackness. Clean type and a new ribbon will help make the offset master reproduce well. The Electromatic carbon ribbon machine makes type impressions that are sharp and of uniform blackness and which lend themselves readily to offset reproduction. With an ordinary typewriter, you get right margins that look like this. However, with an Underwood Justifying typewriter, it is possible for you to write the same copy with a straight margin. The Electromatic proportional spacing machine gives an appearance similar to print in correspondence and in masters. The Varityper composing machine is a special form of typing machine, which is used for making masters for hectograph, mimeograph, and offset duplicating. With the Varityper, it is possible to interchange more than 100 sizes and styles of type. It is possible for you to produce work like this. When changing from a large face to a smaller face type, the machine can be adjusted to space proportionately. It is also possible to justify the right margin on the Varityper. To turn out attractive letters, you must be able to estimate the length of the letter from your dictation. Knowing something about type sizes will help. Typewriters are furnished with different sizes of type, the most common of which is Pica. Pica type is 10 pitch, or 10 spaces to the inch. This will give approximately 12 words on a 6-inch writing line. The next most popular size of type is Elite, or 12 pitch. You can get 20% more copy on a page with 12 pitch Elite than you can with 10 pitch Pica. There are other but less used sizes of type, such as 14 pitch, 16 pitch, and 18 pitch. Type also comes in more than 20 styles. The most used of these are Standard Pica and Standard Elite. Some of the other styles are Book, Gothic, Italic, and Script. With Pica type, there are 6 single-space lines to the inch, 26 to 40 lines on a standard letterhead, and 300 to 450 words to a page. Of course, on a double-spaced letter or manuscript, you get 3 lines to the inch. However, typewriters are made with bearing ratchet gears. Thus, you may have 4 single-spaced lines to the inch, or 6 single-spaced lines to the inch. And with smaller type, you may have as many as 10 or 12 lines to the inch. When typing manuscript with footnotes, leave sufficient space at the bottoms of the pages for the footnotes. Marking the sheets 1, 2, and 3 inches from the bottom of the paper will help you to judge when to start typing the footnotes. Later, these marks can be erased easily. Remember, each of these inches gives you 6 single-space lines. Letters and manuscripts can be made artistic through careful planning of margins. Here's the letter written carelessly. It is poorly spaced. The margins are too narrow, and there is too much space at the bottom. Here's the same letter carefully spaced. Adequate margins at left and right, proper spacing at top and bottom. Compare the appearance and legibility of these 2 copies of the same table. Notice how the spacing makes this copy more legible. You are often called upon to improvise characters or marks which do not appear on your keyboard. To make the symbol for degrees, roll back the platen with a variable line spacer or platen spring release and use the small O. The symbols for minutes and seconds or feet and inches are made by rolling back the platen and using the apostrophe and quotation marks. To make a division sign, strike a hyphen, backspace, and strike a colon. To make a pound sterling sign, strike a capital L, backspace, and strike a small f. An exclamation point is made with an apostrophe, backspace, and a period. It can also be made by holding the Shift key and space bar and striking the apostrophe and the period. To make an equation mark, strike a hyphen, backspace, turn the platen down slightly and strike another hyphen. A paragraph mark can be made by using a capital P, backspacing, and striking over with a capital I. Supernumerals are made this way. Subnumerals are made by rolling the paper up a little. Sometimes you will have to type edited copy. It will be necessary for you to understand proofreader's marks, which indicate alterations to be made on a rough draft. Here is a sample edited rough draft. The meanings of these proofreader's marks may be found in most dictionaries. Let's look at our copy more closely. The title is to be centered. We'll take that up in a moment. Caps means that a letter or word should be capitalized. This underscore indicates that it is the entire title. This mark means to delete or take out. In this case, the punctuation or period is to be deleted. Here, the crossed out word is to be omitted. And here, the letter is to be left out. This mark indicates that the letter is to be transposed. TR may be written in the margin. And here, the words are to be transposed. This mark means new paragraph, or start a paragraph here. The caret is used to indicate an insertion. Here, the letter E is to be inserted. Here, the name Henry. And here, the punctuation. To indicate insert a space, this mark is used. To insert more than one space, space 2 or space 3 is used. To take out a space or close up, this is used. Centering a heading on a page is the same on all machines. Insert the paper. It is best to insert the paper with the left edge at 0. Then take the scale reading at the right edge of the paper. In this case, it is 85. Divide by 2. This equals 42 1/2. We will use 43. Move the carriage until 43 shows under the center of the type guide. Then fill out the heading on the backspace key. Count each half stroke as a letter or space. T-Y, P-E, W-R, I-T, E-R, S. The The carriage is now properly located to write the heading. The left edge of the paper need not be inserted at 0. If, for example, it were 12, the procedure would be to take the carriage scale reading at the left edge, 12, and add the scale reading at the right edge, 97, which equals 109. Dividing by 2 equals 54 1/2, or 55. Therefore, is the center of the sheet. Backspace 1 space for each 2 letters in the title. Typewriters. Now type the title. To center a heading over manuscript copy on a page, the procedure is similar. Insert the paper, preferably with the left edge at 0. Locate the carriage for the left margin. Let's set it at 15. Then we'll draw a line just to see where the margin will come on our page. Let's set the right margin at 75. And draw that margin. Our problem is to center our heading between these 2 lines. First, add the left margin point, 15, and the right margin point, 75. This equals 90. Dividing by 2 gives us 45. Place the carriage at 45. Now we'll spell out the heading on the backspacer. Backspace 1 space for each 2 strokes in the heading, centering of titles. CENTERING space OF space TITLES. The carriage is now properly located so that if we type the heading, it will be exactly centered within our margins.
If you want to type quickly, easily, and well, master the techniques and tricks of the trade of an expert. The shortcuts and advanced typing techniques which have been demonstrated will raise you above the ranks of the average typist, stenographer, and secretary. The recent increase of activity has created many positions with adequate rewards for professional typists. Knowing how to apply these professional shortcuts and techniques to your daily work will not only make your work easier and less tiring, but will also make you master of your job.